Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Dandy Guide to Titanfall, brought to you by yours truly, Dandy Echo. And so today we're going to be going over one of the multiplayer maps, one of my personal favorites, Airbase. We're going to be doing them in alphabetical order, so you have that to look forward to. And this is what we're going to be going over. We're going to be going over where the spawns are, where the hard points are, that's only for hard point, where the evacs are for every single time, and some strategies that might help you out with the map. And without further ado, let's go look at the map I've made to go show us where exactly all these important things are. Alright, so as you can see here, we have a top-down map of Airbase with labels for the evacs and all of the spawns. Now, up there you can see where the militia spawn and the IMC spawn. They're both on the opposite sides of that hangar/death trap that you all see there. And also another interesting thing is that the IMC Last Titan Standing spawn is different from their regular attrition hardpoint, capture the flag spawns. And that's just an interesting thing. And aside from that, there are more evacs on Airbase than normal. There are 5 evac points. Normally there's about 3 or usually 4 on each map. But on this one there's 5, and I've marked each of those with green dots. And so now you know where to go for each of the evacs. I mean, they're randomly generated, so you're not going to know where to go every single time. But you now have a general idea of where you can go. But just note that there's lots of variability in each of the evacuation points. Alright, now this is a map of all of the hard points. So its right triangles are where all of the hard points are. As you can see, B is in that pass between the hangar and the round circle landing pads. C is up in that air traffic control tower. It's inside, actually far in the back. It's pretty easy to watch over if you get up to the top floor area. You'll see that in the video, the gameplay I have in just a second. And the A is off near where the turret is. It's also inside, and it can get quite hectic in there, so you'll also see some of that in the gameplay. Alright, so now that's everything. I think you all are just tired and bored of me talking over charts. So now I'm just gonna push this on out of here, and we're gonna cut over to some gameplay. Alright, so you're going to see me spawn on the militia side of the map, which in my opinion is the more favorable of all of the spawns, because you have a better access to all of the points that you want to go to, and because there's a zip line here that you can see in the A flag. It goes straight from A to C. It doesn't take any time at all. While the IMC are still trying to go to A, you have instant access to 2 of the hard points, so the militia definitely has the more advantageous spawn. And even in attrition, they have the more advantageous spawn because they can go around. They have the turret immediately. They spawn right next to the turret. And so you can just, if you have the hacker knife, the ice pick, or even if you don't, it doesn't take any time at all. You can just go over there. It's an easy hack. If the IMC try to come over there, then they're just going to get hosed. If you do find yourself playing as the IMC, you have access to a big ramp that goes up to the C flag where I am now. You can take that, swing down around the bottom of the map, and that will allow you to pound the turret from a safe distance, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. Now, just note, you notice I didn't go straight for the B flag in this, because that hangar area is a death trap. You really never want to go in there unless you have active radar. Now, I don't have active radar in this gameplay, but now I almost always have it. That's very handy because you can use active radar to look into the hangar, see where there are grunts or pilots, and if you're good enough to discern between the two, you can sneak up on the pilots because there are lots of areas to hide in there. Well, not a lot, but there's 2 areas to hide. They can get underneath those walkways, and you can easily sneak up on them and just wreck them. So right now, I'm on one of the few kind of advantageous spots on this map, which is on top of the hangar. Inside the hangar, you're probably gonna die because you'll either get stepped on by a Titan or snuck up by a pilot who has active radar. That's a very bad thing. You don't want to do that. So being on top of the hangar, as opposed to inside of it, you have a very, very clear view of almost everything on that side of the map. So you can see other things. If anyone tries to sneak up on you, you'll notice them coming up on top immediately, and you'll just be able to wreck them before they even get a chance. That's one reason why I'm using the AOG, the AOG scope here. And that's because it's very very easy to find people. And the AOG is more advantageous on this map than it is on some of the other ones. It's because its reticle is very small. In normal daylight maps, it kind of gets washed out in the light, and you can't really tell where you're aiming. Whereas on this nighttime map, it's very easy to see where that dot is because it stands out against the dark blue background. Now, I'm at a Titan now, and as you can see, B flag is really easy to take if you've got a Titan or two, to just walk on everything or pound it with quad rockets. Strider is actually not as advantageous on this map as it is on other ones. Don't get me wrong, it's still really, really good and really useful to just dash around everywhere. But because it's so tightly packed, you can't really go very far. And if you try to, you'll probably just run into one of the many, many crates that's laying around. And anyone who's using an Ogre and you try to pound them, or even an Atlas, and they have a damage core, they're just going to pound you and wreck you into oblivion. So if you're using a Strider, be very wary of that, just because even in your Titan, everything is very close quarters on this map, because there's lots of cover, and there's no real long lines of sight. Now, if you do use a Titan on this map, there are some things in the loadout that I would recommend you use. One of them is probably the quad rocket. The quad rocket is going to be very, very helpful on this map just because it dumps on infantry so easily, and it's very effective at taking out large groups. In addition to just stepping on them like you normally do with an Atlas or a Strider, you can just pound them with rockets. You see, I just took out a pilot there. He never even had a chance. It's because it was so easy to see him. And in addition to that, you probably just going to want extended mags. Rapid fire isn't going to help you all that much. It's because it's so hard to take out infantry with that. Although for Titans, it's very handy. You're going to run into a lot of pilots on this map, because a lot of people are probably just going to put their pilots in auto mode, and you're going to be not fighting those so much, or they'll be very easy to take down, even with just a regular quad rocket with extended mags. For your tactical ability, I would recommend that you use the Titan Smoke. It's because there's lots of walls on this map, so pilots are going to be running around and rodeoing you a lot, just like that. And see, I had to get out just because I didn't have my Titan Smoke. That was the only reason I did that. But normally you can just pop Titan Smoke, and they'll either jump off, or if they're not very smart, you can kill them with it. In addition to that, because this is so close quarters, there's lots of hallways you can shoot into. Use the cluster missile. The cluster missile is very, very good at taking out infantry, and even if you're going up against Titans, you can shoot at the Titan, and if you're not even if you're not doing damage to them, you can still deny them an area of travel, even though I'm not using the cluster rockets here. That's because I believe I didn't have that unlocked yet at this point during the game. So I was using slaved warheads just because that was the next best thing, just for taking out Titans. So that's the Titan loadout. And also, always use auto-eject. That's just a given if you don't want to be executed like that guy just was. Use auto-eject. I don't think I was using dash quick charger. I may have been using quick shield regen, but dash quick charger on the Strider is very handy just so you can get around very fast. And if you don't have that, then shield regen is never a bad thing to go with. No, don't use nuclear ejection, though. That is a very bad idea on this map, just because there's lots of places with roofs. If you're underneath the air circle area where I am now, and you nuclear eject, you're just going to die. There's no getting out of that. For the pilot loadout, I'm going to recommend the weapon, at least, what you're seeing here, which is the R101C carbine with the suppressor and the AOG, or maybe even the HCOG. Now, I'm going to explain why I use each of these. I use the R101 just because it's the best all-around weapon. This map, it is very close a lot of the times, but there are times when you'll be going up against very long lines of sight. Like, if you're on that zipline, you see where at the top of that zipline, you can just see out for a very long distance. And if I had had the R97 or even the car, I wouldn't have been able to take out as many guys as I would have been able to if I had the carbine. And the attachments for it, I use the AOG for reasons I explained earlier. It has a very good sight on the nighttime map. And for those long-range engagements, I can very easily see that little red dot and take out people who don't suspect it. And now for the most critical part of this is the suppressor. The suppressor is very good on the R101C, but it's especially handy on this map, just because if you are shooting at long distance, then you won't be able to be found by anyone who's looking for you. Even if they are looking for you, they won't know where you are. So you can keep those 5 shots. Yes, it does lower your damage, so it takes 5 shots to kill. But that's not that big a deal if they don't know where the shots are coming from, so you can just keep pounding away at your will. And I say that's using not a suppressed carbine, but that's because it's amped, so that's a completely different story. You can never go wrong with an amped weapon, unless it happens to be the Hemlock, which sucks for some reason. Now, this also works for close quarters, in addition to just long-range combat, because yeah, the R101 doesn't really have great hip fire, but its rate of fire is high enough that if you are in these close quarters, they're really close quarters, so you'll just be able to barrel stuff the person and take them out. Or if you're just like that, you can ADS real quick if you're skilled enough with it, and it won't be an issue taking people out of close quarters. Or if you're just not comfortable with that, you can switch to your sidearm, the 211, not the 211, the 2011, or the auto pistol or the wingman. Personally, I would use the auto pistol just because that's, my opinion, the best one. Although the P2011 is very good as well. It's because in close quarters, it's a 3-shot kill with a match trigger, so there's no fire cap, and you can just spam away until all of your bullets are gone. And if you have quick reload, which you should always have if you have it unlocked, then it doesn't take any time to reload either. And you can just keep spamming away. It's like you have infinite magazines. For your anti-Titan weapon, there really isn't a best one here. You can use the archer, you can use the sidewinder, you can use the mag launcher or the charge rifle. It doesn't really matter. Just because there are situations in which they're all useful. Yeah, the archer does a ton of damage, but fires slow, so you may want to just hit and run with that. The sidewinder, if you can get it to a good position, you can just keep pounding at a Titan with it, and they won't know where you are. Mag launcher, you can arc them, and they won't be able to shoot back at you. And charge rifle, same thing as the archer. You can just charge, wait, until you get a good shot. So there's no real wrong way to go with a anti-Titan weapon. For your tactical ability, I'm going to recommend that you either use Stim or the tactical sorry, not tactical radar, active radar pulse. The Stim is going to be good for getting around, especially in hardpoint, because you want to get to those points as fast as possible and dash between cover as fast as possible. And active radar, as I explained earlier, it's very helpful for telling where everyone is and also not getting snuck up on. So you can just put out active radar if you feel like you're being in a bad place, and you can just take it out, no problems at all. Take out anyone who's shooting at you. Now, I'm not going to recommend that you use cloak a lot. It's because, yeah, it makes you kind of not visible to AI or to Titans. But for pilots, it makes you a lot more noticeable. Usually, if you're in a crowd of grunts, or sometimes even specters, the only way that they can tell the difference between you and the other grunts is by the way you move. And if you're very smart about it, you can sneak through a book of grunts. But if you have cloak on, pilots with good eyes will be able to discern you instantly, and you won't stand a chance. They're just going to pick you out, and you're just going to be annihilated. There's nothing you can do about it. Even though you are invisible, I don't find cloak to be very handy in a lot of those situations. For your kits, and, well, yeah, they're essentially perks, I recommend the quick reload kit if you have it unlocked, because you're going to be running around a lot. You're not going to want to spend a lot of time reloading. If you don't have that, Power Cell is always a good way to go. You can never go wrong with it. And those are the Tier 1 kits. For Tier 2, I would recommend that you use either Minion Detector and Attrition, so you can farm those grunts really easier and get tons of points. If you don't have that, then use Ice Pick. Those are the default ones. If you feel really, really good enough and you have it unlocked, you're like 49 or 50, then you can use the Guardianship. Because that way you can go around, capture hardpoints, kill grunts as a pilot, if that's your thing, and just leave your Titan in follow mode, and it'll still do lots of good work. And now you're seeing at one of the evac points, it's going to come down way at the edge there, and what sometimes people do is exactly what this guy is doing, and hang out on top of this building here and try to shoot down at any of the Titans. It doesn't usually work very well, but at least they have an advantageous point where the Titans can't shoot back at them, but they can instantly drop down into the jump ship. Not drop down into the drop ship. That just sounds kind of weird. And there's nothing the Titans can do about it, and so it's an easy evac as long as the dropship doesn't get destroyed. And so that's it for the guide today. As you can see, I did very, very well. Now, I'd like to thank you guys very much for watching, and stay tuned next time because I'll be doing either Angel City or Boneyard, depending on whatever I'm able to do. So, yeah, I've got something special I want to show you on Boneyard, so I'll probably do that next instead of Angel City. Sorry, we're going a little bit out of order, but see you guys next time. Peace.